So let's take our discussion to the next level. We've been on competitive advantage for the past few minutes, right? Let's go into some further detail on what we call Porter's generic strategies for competitive advantage. We have said that your competitive advantage is that thing you have, distinct, unique to you, that makes you different from your competitor. Why should customer A buy from you and not your competitor? What makes you better than your competitor? What makes you better suited to provide that good or service to a certain level that your competitors cannot? That is your competitive advantage. That is what makes you you as a business. So Porter has what we call the generic strategies for competitive advantage. Generally, we have 3 of those strategies for sustaining your competitive advantage over rival firms and their products or services, right? These strategies would be similar to what we saw on the Bowman strategic clock, right, which we discussed, and I'll show that again today. So generally, we have a cost leadership strategy being our first one. We have a differentiation strategy and a focus strategy. So we'll take each of these and go deeper into the discussion. So before we do that, Porter argues that sustainable competitive advantage is achieved by offering your customers a value proposition. You see, customers, when they are buying a product, when they are purchasing a service, they are looking for what we call a value proposition. What have you promised to give them? What is the perceived value, the perceived benefit that product or service will give the customer that they will not get elsewhere, right? So your value proposition is a set of benefits that your product or service will provide that are different from those that any competitors will offer. That is your value proposition. So we've said every business should have the customer-centric approach. The customer should be at the heart of everything you do, right? So your value proposition, what are you promising? When I buy your iPhone, right? You are Apple. When I buy the iPhone, what are you promising me? You are promising me the Apple ecosystem, the best possible experience, right? So your value proposition, before your customers will spend their hard-earned money on you, on your product or your service, there's a certain value proposition they are looking to get. Now, remember, this is a perceived benefit. Their expectations may not be met, but customers will make a purchase based on what they believe that good or service will give them, not what they know it will. Most of the time, people make purchases based on the value proposition. So how do you create a value proposition? Generally, we have 2 broad ways. You could have that through operational effectiveness. Here, this is basically doing the same things, but better than your competitors. So because you are able to do it better, you provide the same goods or services at a lower cost. Through lower cost, your sustainable competitive advantage can be gained through selling at lower prices. So maybe your value proposition is, I want to be the cheapest on the market. So when someone is looking for a low-cost producer, they come to you. How do you do that? You become operationally effective. You find ways to optimize on your costs. You are able to save on costs. And because of that, you are able to pass on those savings to your customers in the form of lower prices. The next way is through strategic positioning. Here, you do things differently from your competitors so that you now offer something unique to customers. And this time, your customers are prepared to pay a higher price or a premium to acquire that unique value combination that your product or your service will offer. So it's either you go low, become the cheapest producer or the cheapest price offering on the market. Customers who are price sensitive would buy from you. You could also position yourself strategically where you become unique on the market. You are offering something they will not get anywhere else, and they are willing to spend their hard-earned money to get that unique value proposition, the unique selling proposition that you are offering. They are willing to pay something for that. So I'm saying that, as we'll find out shortly, operational effectiveness is the basis for cost leadership. Remember, as we'll find out soon, for cost leadership, you want to be the cost leader. You want to be known for offering the lowest price on the market. How do you do that? You have to be operationally effective. And strategic positioning will form the basis for a differentiation strategy, right? So now that we know the two broadly available strategies or ways you can create your value proposition, i.e., operational effectiveness and your strategic positioning, let's go into details. So let's start with cost leadership. Cost leadership, as the name implies, you want to be the cost leader, right? So your plan, your end goal is to be known as the lowest cost producer in the market. That's it. When customers think of low price, they should think of you. That is your end goal. So the least cost producer is able to compete effectively on price by offering their product at a lower price than their rival product. When everybody is selling at $200, you are probably going to do $80. You can sell your products much cheaply than your competitors and still make a profit. This is the key here. It is not about just selling at the lowest price. Remember, at the end of the day, under corporate governance, we will discuss that you have different stakeholder groups you need to satisfy. So your investors are looking to make a return on their investment. So as you are pursuing cost leadership, please remember you have to still turn a profit, right? You can't be loss making just because you are chasing cost leadership. So companies that have a cost leadership strategy must have excellent systems of cost control and should continually plan for further cost reductions in order to remain the cost leader. The source of their competitive advantage is low cost, and they must never lose sight of this. You are only able to charge lower than your competitors because your costs are lower. I'll repeat, a business should not pursue cost leadership if their costs are not contained, if their costs are not in control. If not, you run at a loss, and over time, your business will die. So your source of competitive advantages, you probably are able to procure your raw materials at a much lower price than your competitors. So because of that, you are able to charge lower. So you must never forget that you should be pursuing reduction in cost any way possible. Try to cut your costs, right? In general, the cost leader in the market is a large company because large companies can benefit from what we call economies of scale that smaller companies are not able to achieve. So once again, if you're a very small, struggling business, cost leadership may not be for you because the larger companies can cut price and still make profit. Why? Because of something we call volumes, right? They have the volumes. So at a lower price, they are still able to get higher revenues because they have the numbers. But if you are struggling little business and you do cost leadership thinking that it will make a difference, you may be pursuing the wrong strategy. So it's very complicated when it comes to choosing cost leadership. You need to be careful. The success of cost leadership is based on offering your products at the lowest price, which means that in order to make a reasonable profit, the company must sell large quantities of the product. Total profits will usually come from selling large volumes at a low profit margin per unit. Generally, revenue of X equals what? The price of that item times the quantity sold of that item. So if you are going to keep your price low, you are hoping that those low prices would attract customers to increase the quantity they're going to purchase from you and in turn increase your revenue. But my point is that if you don't plan well, your low prices are not always going to result in high quantities. So the large companies are able to cut prices and compete on that basis because they are large. They have the economies of scale. They are able to cut costs because they buy in volumes, for example. So a cost leadership strategy is similar to the low price strategy or the no frill strategy we saw on the Bowman strategic clock, right? So just a quick recap of how that model looks like. We said the strategic clock is based on two main dimensions, right? We plot price against perceived benefits, right? Just a revision of what we've done already here, right? So we said this is how the clock looks like, right? So we said the low price and the no frills were strategies on the strategic clock will be a representation of pursuing what? A cost leadership strategy. You want to be known as the lowest cost producer. So if you remember what we discussed last week, we said that for the strategic clock, a no frills person here is hoping, remember we are plotting perceived benefits against the price. So I am not middle price. I'm pointing towards what? Somewhere low price. and I'm still giving them a low perceived benefit. So a customer who buys from a no frills business, they know for sure that they are not going to get the highest quality. They know it. And they are willing to buy at that price. But low price, I'm still charging a lower price, but the perceived benefit is higher than a no frills business. So people are buying at a lower price, but they know what they are getting, the perceived benefit. So we are saying that for the low price and no frills strategy, number 1 and 2 on the strategic clock, that will represent a cost leadership strategy. Your end goal is to be the cheapest on the market, and customers know you for this. Because of this, you should never lose sight of the fact that people buy from you because you are the cheapest. Companies that pursue cost leadership may struggle when they try to change the differentiation. Why? I have known you for the past 5 years, for the past 7 years, to be the cheapest cost producer on the market. If I'm looking for the lowest price for this product, if I walk into your shop, I'll find it there. I walk in one day and now you are charging premium prices. I will not buy, because you are confusing me as a customer, right? I know you for something to be the cheapest on the market. Then I come and all of a sudden your prices are ×2, ×3, right? You will lose the market because your identity will create a confusion in the minds of your consumers or your customers. Cost leadership. Let's now look at the differentiation and focus strategy. Now, for differentiation, you have no business with low prices. In fact, that is not what you are looking for, right? So for differentiation, like I said, it's been explained already in relation to the strategic clock. But what do you mean? For Porter, what he's saying is that differentiation means making a product different from rival products in a way that customers can recognize, right? Your end goal is that you are making your product so different from rivals that customers can tell that this product is different. This product is different. So customers might be willing to pay a higher price for your product because they value the different features. When someone is buying an iPhone, right, let's say a 15 Pro Max, and they are buying the lowest model of an Infinix phone, they know they are not buying the best phone with the lowest tier Infinix phone. So they are willing to pay high for the Apple product. Why? Apple has differentiated itself more like as a luxury phone, right? People want to use the iPhone, right? So companies that pursue differentiation strategy need to offer products and services that are perceived as better. Remember, the word is perception. Customers need to only believe it's better. At the point of purchasing, they may not know, they may have watched a review on YouTube, right? But they just need to know that the perceived benefit of your product or service is much higher, and they will be willing to pay for the premium compared to that of your competitors. So to deliver better products and services, this needs investment and innovation. You cannot do differentiation if you are not willing to innovate. You must be willing to take on the newest tech. Today, the buzz on the market is AI, artificial intelligence. You should be willing to continually invest in R&D, innovate, bring on the latest tech, because customers will pay you for that innovation and investment, right? So companies that go with differentiation strategy cannot ignore cost. In fact, the way we said low cost strategy or cost leadership, right? You are pursuing a reduction in cost. For differentiation, you may struggle. You are most likely going to spend more because you need to make your product different, distinct, right? Another way is to do like unique branding. Your brand stands out in the market as the best. In the minds of your customers, you are firmly and deeply rooted as the best possible business to do to buy the product from. So you should keep your costs under control, all right? Try to reduce your cost so you can offer value to customers and retain competitive advantage. But remember that you cannot ignore cost. Even though your cost will be high, you still have to turn a profit for your shareholders, right? So even though costs are a necessity, there must still be a way to try to minimize the cost. But like I said, you are not trying to be the least cost producer, far from it. You want to be known as the different business, the one that gives the customer the best possible user experience. And you are willing to spend money to do that for your business. Because of this, differentiation strategy allows you to charge a premium. You can charge a high price that the low cost or the cost leadership guys can only dream of, right? It's more important for a successful differentiation strategy, that a product should give more benefits to the customer, even if this means having to spend more to deliver the product. It will amaze you how much our big tech companies spend on innovation and research and development. You have no idea. Billions of dollars. Why? They are willing to spend to become the market leader, to be known as the best product, right? Apple, Samsung, look at the competition today, right? The Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. If I look at the cars we have today, right? Cars have moved from just being vehicles or moving from point A to point B. Look at the features cars have today, right? So companies are spending so much on their products. Why? I want to differentiate the product and sell it. I'll compare maybe two different cars. If you understand, if you know the Lexus LX 570 and the Toyota Land Cruiser, right? LC 200. At the base, at a very fundamental level, they still have the same 5.7 liter V8 engine. But a Lexus is a Toyota Land Cruiser with a premium packaging. That is differentiation strategy. An example, because it's a Lexus, right? Because the leather used for the car seats are different, because of higher tech, because the car feels more premium inside, I'm able to charge you higher. Not because the car is any different. At the end of the day, the drivetrains are the same. Maybe few differences here and there, right? We have air suspension and all of that, right? But my point is that they can take the same engine, the same drivetrain, rebudget as Lexus, add premium features, probably give you heads-up display in the car, right? 360-degree camera, a cool box to cool your drinks in the car. Because of those things, they are able to charge you higher. So my point is that differentiation strategy is about creating this perception in the mind of the customer that this product comes with a certain value I will not get anywhere else. Or even if I will, yours still gives me something that is different, and I'm willing to pay for that. That is differentiation. You are able to charge higher because you are willing to differentiate yourself from the competition. Unlike cost leadership, where you want to be known as the cheapest, lowest cost producer, if someone wants the lowest price, they should come to you. That's different from differentiation. Then focus strategy. So your cost leadership strategy and your differentiation strategy can be pursued in a market that is not segmented. However, many consumer markets are segmented. We've discussed this already, right? So your company, as a strategy, right? You might select one or more particular segments as your target market for the product. We call this a focus strategy. As the name implies, you are focusing on a particular segment of the market. So you concentrate on selling the product to a particular segment of the market and to a particular type of customer. So here, for example, we have a big market for what? Clothing. You can choose to enter the market for clothing for women. And not just women clothing. You want to do corporate wear for ladies. Particular market segment. And that is where you are focusing. You will not do wedding attire, you will not do party dresses for women. You are doing corporate clothing. That is your focus. So Porter is saying you could also decide to focus on just one particular market segment. So within the segment, you can now decide to do cost leadership or differentiation. So the example I gave, you chose to do corporate clothing for ladies. Within that particular segment, you may want to be the best in terms of what differentiation. So you charge a premium. Your clothing best, you created a luxury brand for yourself, or you can choose to be the cost leader. So within the segment for ladies' clothing for corporate wear, right? You want to be known as the cheapest one. If I want to buy something for work, I'm a lady, I want to buy something for work, I should get it from you the cheapest. So within the market segment, you can either pursue cost leadership or differentiation. But focus strategy is saying, you know what? I want to focus on a particular market segment and deliver my product or service in that segment. Are we good? So you choose a particular sub-segment of a bigger market segment and you focus your energies there, right? So these are the different strategies that Porter recommended. We can also talk about Porter's 6 principles of strategic positioning, right? What Porter said here